I'll start recording over here. And let me see. Okay, there we go. I started recording. Come on, man. So, welcome everyone here to another live training session in the Power of Image. Welcome here everyone that is in my YouTube channel. This is my coaching program, my online school, a place where only the elite get together, and every week we hold a live training session where I teach the secrets of image, the science behind fashion, style, image, which is called imagology, and beyond, right? And tonight's lecture it's going to be really amazing, because I will go back to the basics, but then I will further develop it, right? So we have new members over here as well, so welcome each and every one of you. I'm very excited and very glad that you're here with us, part of the Power of Image. So let's go back to basics. I did the very first lecture, or the second lecture, which is, I think we have now more than 100 lectures. I talked and I explained how fashion started, how it all was created, right? So we must, I would say, enhance our perception. We must see past beyond what we like and what we don't like, because this is the problem in life and in the world, that we only see based on what we like, based on what we accept. And life is not like that, you know. Life happens in all different shapes, ways and forms. I mean, it's not only what we want, it's not only what we like. It happens, sometimes things happen that we don't expect, that we don't like, yet we have to handle them. We have to go through them and know how to fucking deal with them, right? So why would you, fashion-wise, why would you think that it's only about what you like, right? It's only about looking pretty. It's only about what your girls are saying. It's only about being the popular guy or being the popular girl or getting attention. It's only about that, right? God damn it, it's not like that. It's beyond that. And for some reason it seems though as we have forgotten that, how it all started. So we must go back to the roots, the beginning of fashion, the beginning of this science or this art form, because I consider it an art form as well. You need to know how to apply it. There's the left brain, the left part of it, the left path of imagology, of fashion style, which is just the semiotics and everything. I will cover it in a moment. But then there's the right path, which is the artistical part, the beauty, the aesthetics, and you have to combine them, right? So we have forgotten about these things. So I want to go back to the old teachings, so that you can take back control of this tool that was created specifically for a reason, right? It was created in the beginning of society, at the very beginning of us as a species. So the moment fashion was created, it was not created, and I have to say it again, and I will repeat it as long as people get it, that it was not created for some biblical reason. People think that this was created simply because of Adam and Eve, which is, again, is a very small part of the puzzle. Wouldn't you agree? It's like, you cannot tell me, literally, I don't care if you're Christian or whatever, with all the information that we have in today's society, you can't possibly think and believe and actually say that there's only Adam and Eve. I mean, there's a lot of evidence, hardcore evidence, where it shows that that's not how we were created. That's not how it all started, goddammit. If you're an old-fashioned or an old soul and you think that it's only Adam and Eve, and that fashion or clothes began because our Lord kicked us out of the garden of Adam and Eve, and then we felt a little, you know, they felt a little bit ashamed and they had to cover themselves. My God, that's, even just saying it, I feel weird just saying it, because it's fucking stupid, man. Which, again, people only talk based from their perception, which I get it, but people only talk based from what they like, what they accept, and that's not life. Life is not just exclusive to your lack of perception or lack of perspective. Life is inclusive in all ways. It's just the fact that you don't see it does not mean that it's not there. You see what I'm saying? So fashion did not start because of being ashamed or trying to cover our intimate parts. That's not how fashion started. What's the second explanation? Because of the cold, isn't it? People thought that, well, it's very cold and we need to cover ourselves with some pelts because it's very cold out there. Which is not true. If you really study the theory of evolution, you will see where the Homo sapiens comes from, which is not a cold part. It comes from Africa, god damn it. And Homo sapiens was the species that evolution, the more evolution, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly in English, but it was the most advanced animal, if that makes sense, or species in the world, right? And he was not wearing any lion pelts or anything like that, no, or at least not because of the cold. It was not because of that. So even though it sounds kind of it makes sense, like, oh, it was pretty cold, it kind of makes sense. It was not because of that. So let me give it to you. The first form of fashion ever recorded, you can actually see it in the, how do you say it in English, hieroglyphics, or the old paintings, right, in Egypt and all these things. You can see it that the emperors and the gods, they were all wearing some sort of garments, special garments, and some sort of accessories like hats or bracelets or rings, some sort of artifact to portray themselves. And actually these artifacts were the ones that expressed the deity better. They were not all the same. So the first form of fashion, the first form of style was through accessories, was through the form of symbols. It was a symbolism. Semiotics, study the language of symbols. This is called semiotics. Somebody just comment, I don't speak English, no hablo inglés. Well, goddammit, man, this is the Style Systems YouTube channel in English. I have a Spanish YouTube. Fuck out of here, man, shit. These people, man, but whatever. And as I was saying, it all started because of there was a symbolism behind those artifacts. There was a symbolism behind a tattoo or a painting. There was something behind it. They were not doing it simply because of aesthetics. Now, part of being us, human beings, is part of knowing how to communicate better than the rest of the animal kingdom. That's just what it is. We have a more complex way of expressing ourselves, not only through language like speech, but many different ways. Like communication comes in many different forms. Body language, tonalities, like the sounds. If you were, back in the day, you made a very guttural sound, like brr, you were perceived as being more alpha, and so on. So you see that the first form of expression was in the form of paintings, was in the form of, people, our ancestors, they were trying to express themselves, to express and find an answer, and everything, all the stimuli that were that was hitting them through the stars, through animals, through sounds. They were developing their own brain, and they were trying to express that in some way, shape, or form. One of the first forms was through art, which is beauty, paintings and music, sounds, and also symbols, symbolism. This is one of the most ancient forms of communication, guys. Now you can see what we are dealing with. This is not just looking pretty, guys. And I say it repeatedly because I hate seeing girls, I hate seeing gay guys, I hate seeing people just, how do I look today, man? Like, dude, are you trying to oversimplify years and years of evolution in communication? You're trying to make it into something so superficial? It's like, come on, like language. Why do we even speak, right? Is it just because we want food? Like, you can't say that. We have evolved so much that we have gotten to a level where we should understand that style, fashion, our image forms a crucial part of our communication, which is actually the universal, this is the only universal language. Body language, tonality, and fashion, symbols. There are certain symbols that stimulate every single human being, no matter where they come from. There are certain patterns that we have, what we share as a species, that the moment we see them, we understand them. Like even emotions, right? Like the emotion of being angry. There's a sound normally that follows that emotion, right? Do these type of guttural sounds. No matter where you come from, people all over the place, all over the world, they will understand it. And I bet even beyond the world. Because there's something, I will not talk about it for free here on the YouTube, but I will dig in deeper with you guys, here, my students. So my point is, the first form of fashion was symbols, which was in the form of paintings. And what type of symbols they were trying to communicate? Well, normally they were attached onto religions, or, well, they were not, they didn't have any religion, but it was more of in the form of spirituality. Like if I paint my head with blood, certain evil spirits will not come into my way. Or if I pierce my ear, this will happen. Or if I scar my body, this will happen. You know, they were trying to communicate something. And they were trying, our ancestors, they were trying to not only express themselves just for the fuck of it, but also they were trying to say we are different. Different from lions. Because we became conscious about ourselves. You see what I'm saying? Well, a lion is not conscious that he is a lion. Any animal for that matter. I think some of them are, but like for example dolphins, they're super smart. But that's just me lying. I really don't know anything about it, but I can tell you this. Us as a species, we became conscious about ourselves. Like, I have hands, I have voice, I can make this. If I grab this and I do this will happen. Like, we started becoming more conscious about it, and we were trying to find a place within ourselves in the entire animal kingdom. So fashion played a huge role when it comes to that. All right? So we're talking about the first form of communication, the first form of language, the first form of the universal language, right, guys? So when it comes to your fashion, you can understand how important this is. Not only that, but you've been applying it in the wrong way. You've been applying it only through a very small filter, like, it's just what I like, it's just what I, and you've been missing out on a lot of opportunities. So the whole point of this, of fashion, of the language of fashion, is just to communicate yourself in the best way possible without you having to explain yourself, because that's how it all started. All right, guys? When we didn't have a lot of time, when we couldn't afford the time nor the effort of explaining ourselves to another tribesman, you know, to another tribe, we couldn't afford it, because back in the day it was kill or be killed, like literally, right? It was tough. So you couldn't be like, hey, hello, well, my name is Pablo, and this mustache actually I wanted to grow it because I'm trying to brand myself, you know. I know that ooga ooga, you know, like the moment I try to explain, boom, I would already been dead, and my tribe would have been kidnapped and all these things. So we couldn't afford it. So what would we do? We tried to implement the same things that we watch in nature, which is when when the male tries to attract the female, what do they normally do? The males in nature, like other animals, you see them, the peacock, for example, like you see the lion, you see them puff up, and you see the gorillas hitting on their chest. It's all, and they groom themselves. They actually groom themselves just to appeal more to the female. And then when they are trying, well, they're disputing for a certain piece of land or whatever, you know, to see who's the leader of the pack. What do? They puff off their chest and whatever. It's the image. I'm not talking about just the aesthetic part. Like, oh well, a lion picks up the outfit, and I'm not just stupid, man. but they do something with their image to try to project a specific something and obtain something behind it, okay? They try to communicate something to get something in return. Us, human beings, we try to do the same thing. We tried to apply the same thing, but on a much, much higher level. It was not only the body language, which is one of the most basic forms of communication. Yes, you can see it in children, in kids, in babies. But the moment we become more evolved, more intelligent, we started saying, oh, so if I put this on, I will talk to the spirits, or if I killed a lion and I put on the pelt, I will let others know that I am strong enough and badass enough to kill a motherfucking lion or a wolf or a bear, and I'm wearing it, and they thought that it will grant them powers and all these things. So before you even get to speak and before they even had to explain themselves, oh, well, I'm actually the leader of the tribe, I'm the alpha male or whatever, just by looking at them, they were hesitant to attack them or not, or to become friends, or they would had to assess their image, the image of another person, or of another tribesman, on an instant, just to see if he was a friend or foe and so on. So moving in today's society, where we find ourselves right now, we still have that same mechanism. It's more evolved, but we still have the same mechanism where we assess the people that we encounter with. We don't want to hear their explanation. That comes later, after, because of certain images that they were quote unquote pleasant to you, they appealed to you, you give them an opportunity to get to know them and to understand them and to explain themselves. But if something is off, if something is off, or if someone is off, what do we normally do? We reject them. I'm not saying about being moral, being good or being bad. I'm just saying the truth. I'm bringing you the facts, cold-hearted facts. So we're still operating with that same mechanism. So that's why fashion is so important. That's why a lot of people feel lost, because they just think that with their words, with just one thing, they're gonna get everything. Which applies in the other way as well. If you think that only through your fashion you're gonna get everything, you're wrong. If you think that only through your body language you're gonna get everything that you want, you're wrong. It's the combination of everything. It's the big picture that create, all the little pieces that create the puzzle. Then you can become successful. Then you can become a better version of yourself, and then you can truly communicate who you are and what you want, and there will be less misinterpretations, there will be less miscommunication, there will be less just confrontations, negative confrontations, less misunderstandings, right? Because what happens 9 out of 10 times when you have a problem with another person is simply because the communication was off. In a conscious level, subconscious level, unconscious level, this is what is happening. So that's why I want you to understand the different dimensions of your communication and what makes you you, which I will get deeper right now. If you are interested in knowing more about this and all the different things about image, not only in you but outside, and how to apply it to you and to others and become a better version of yourself, even become an image consultant, go to the link that I will post on the comment section later, The Power of Image. Go to stylesystems.net and you will get to see it. All right, guys?